Check, check. Good things. All right.
Okay, Kev's picking up.
I do my side job. It's true, sorry. My side job for extra money is car commercials. And rodeo. I used to do the Edmonton rodeo commercial. Know nothing about trucks or rodeo, but, 45 minutes in the booth, $600. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd take it.
Yeah, I'd take it too.
Yeah. It's, I just wish a company I believed in would hire me like Jägermeister. Hire me. I will pitch that commercial with passion.
That's me with basically Pilsner.
But, well, you know
Tastes
what?
like piss, but fuck it.
No. If you would have said Budweiser, like, get out of my store.
Yeah,
That's just...
No. Anyone... No, what would have been worse is if I said Bud Light.
Oh, fuck, yeah.
Jesus Christ. No, Bud Light Lime.
Worst invention ever.
Oh, my God.
Lukewarm temperature, too, to really punish yourself.
I don't know. Bud Light
fuck
Apple
it.
is pretty bad.
Bud Light Apple.
That's a thing?
Sounds awful.
I worked at a liquor store, yeah.
Jesus Christ. 20 years working at bars, I've never seen one ever coolers, thank God.
Yeah.
What is this shit? It is terrible.
You turn out like Dennis Hopper in Blue Velvet, like Bud Light Apple. Fuck that shit.
Fuck that shit indeed. Terrible. Terrible.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of this fucking terrible ass podcast we call Sequel Decay, where we struggle to get through the day one franchise at a time. I'm drunk and with me is Stefan Salehio.
Hello.
And we have a special guest this week. Kevin Martin of the Lobby DVD Shop on White in Edmonton, even though we actually shoot this in Chicago.
Obviously.
Yeah.
That's why you got throwing the big bucks out to get me out here. I don't know what to say, boys. One day I'm just to do my own business at my video store at Edmonton, then I get the phone call, next thing you know I'm on a flight, and here we are.
In Chicago.
This is amazing.
Can't believe I'm missing the White Sox game for this.
I was going to say, I thought you guys promised to be the Cubbies game. This is terrible. Terrible.
We'll bribe you instead.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I like
fine.
it. Well, what are we talking about anyways here? What's the topic? Why'd you guys call me so urgently? Like, we need you to talk about some shits. What are we talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to tell you, I'm breaking up with you.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
That's why I bought you the coffee. I thought that would go down smoother.
No, it's helping. It really is.
It's got really awkward. Do you want me to leave?
No, it's fine. Stay here.
This is part of the healing now.
You're the warmth that we need.
Well, I'm very sweaty, so yeah.
That's disgusting. So this week we are going to talk about The Evil Dead. Finally.
Evil Dead, yes.
Finally.
Yeah.
All of them.
Mm.
Even the show. Finally.
All 3 seasons. Did I hear you just wrapped up the show like now? Was it your first time, or were you rewatching it?
I rewatched the first couple seasons like an idiot. I still haven't finished season 3 yet, but I know how it ends.
Oh, you spoiled it for yourself.
Yeah, someone spoiled it for me, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I know how it ends, too. The executives at Starz were like, hey, you're canceled. Sorry, guys. That's how it ends.
The executives were like, yeah, you know what? This thing that's surprisingly a lot more popular than we thought, and we don't have anything else for programming besides maybe Spartacus again.
Yeah.
Interesting direction. I wonder how they'll take it.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell ends up in Spartacus season whatever.
Well, I mean, Lucy Lawless was in Spartacus. There is a connection there, you know. And Rob Tappert produced Spartacus, I believe, as well. So.
I'm surprised they didn't get Ash vs. Evil Dead on the air earlier then.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, you know, I know we shouldn't jump too far ahead, but let's be honest. We know why the fuck it was canceled, because Starz, in their utter brilliance, decided, hey, let's have the show go head-to-head with The Walking Dead. Now, I give 2 shits about The Walking Dead anymore, but a lot of people still watch the damn show, and even if they want to watch Ash vs. Evil Dead, a lot of people don't have Starz. It's a really obscure channel, so of course you were downloading it, so the ratings weren't showing up, and that's what killed the show. Bruce said it himself, all the downloading.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, I never really torrented it. I always just went out and bought the Blu-ray, and then I would just binge the whole season. But for some reason, I never got around to season 3 that much. I love seasons 1 and 2. I'm like halfway through season 3 right now.
All right.
Season 3 is pretty good, though.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we will talk about that later. All right, so we're going to start by talking about The Evil Dead, the first one.
Yes.
Stefan, why don't you tell us a bit about the first one?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, sure, you picked the one who knows the least about these movies.
Yes, I know.
Evil Dead was released in 81 or 83?
I think it was 82, wasn't it?
It was 83, I believe, but I think that it took them quite a while to get it shot.
Yeah, because
they shot it in like 80, didn't they?
They shot it between
80,
like the end of 79, start of 80.
Yeah, because they all have like jobs and shit.
Yeah, they all had actual jobs, and they shot it between oh God, I want to say November of 79 to January of 1980.
Look at you go.
I
Thank God he's here.
Thank God. Honestly, I'm not good with the technical shit. If this was like a sports casting commentary going on, I'm just the play-by-play guy, and he's he's like my analyst right here. Hey, can you pull up that sheet and get me the stats on this movie? Yeah, that's
I learned how to read, guys.
Look, no one likes to show off, all right, especially in a video store. But yeah, so Evil Dead 1.
Evil Dead 1, released in 1983. Sam Raimi's directorial debut, and it features a group of disposable college kids led by, kind of led by Ash, who's played by Bruce Campbell, who's the only one I remember, and who go to a cabin and accidentally recite some demonic words from a book they find, which...
well, they don't actually recite it.
No, it's
they find the tape recorder. The professor recites it. Yeah.
Which then recites it. Then demonic shenanigans start happening. Then they each get murdered one by one.
Murdered, possessed, yeah.
Yeah.
By trees.
Yeah. Tree rape. That was invented for that one.
This movie is charming for families and kids.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, this movie was definitely done with love and a little money. And I know when I recommend it to younger people, they'll come back like, yeah, the effects, Kev. And I'm like, man, there's a charm to it. There'll always be a charm to the effects. Yeah. The claymation shit styles, like that. And I'm sorry, man, I don't care. Anytime you see a pencil going in a fucking ankle, that shit's like, yeah.
Oh, fuck.
You know,
yeah,
it's right on the cringy notes.
Well, I actually think the blood effects in the first one look fantastic.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd say in all of them, the blood effects look great. The claymation is so fucking charming to look at.
Absolutely.
And anyone that says to me, oh, the effects are shit, they can burn in hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there is a charm seeing it. If you've never, like, to see it, like, on a VHS tape, so it's more grainy and shit, I think it kind of adds to it. Sometimes I feel the new Uber editions of Blu-rays and whatever 4Ks polish movies too much up. Like, because I'm like, no, I kind of miss that charm it had, you know? But Evil Dead 1... It's weird because right out of the gates, I'm going to say it's not my favorite of the franchise.
No, it's not mine.
But
good.
You have to respect it because, I mean, there wouldn't be a franchise if one doesn't get a cult following. And what actually helped Evil Dead 1, because right out of the gates, all three movies did not do well in theaters. People forget that, you know?
I read this, I think it was both in If Chins Could Kill and IMDb, that the first Evil Dead was actually the highest rented video in the UK in 1983.
But that's the thing, though, right?
Yeah.
All the Evil Dead movies did. It's like when they were making Army of Darkness, like they were probably all sitting around going, "Okay, guys, enough people have seen Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2 on video, and that's what saved us. That for sure they're going to hit the theaters for this one." But they didn't. I did. I was there opening night in 93 or 92, and theater was packed. It was a downtown theater, and we thought this movie was going to be a hit. Nope. Everybody that was an Evil Dead fan went that opening night, and after that, nobody knew. And also, I really think the promotion, the marketing campaign, Army of Darkness made a big mistake. Universal was leery on calling it Evil Dead 3, or originally Medieval Dead, they were going to call it, I believe.
Yeah.
Because, like, well, maybe nobody's seen 1 and 2. So if you watch that original trailer for Army of Darkness, you would never guess this is a sequel to 2 prior movies. Okay. Like, the trailer is so, he's a man from the future, and he's fallen in, you know.
I saw that, actually.
It's very goofy, like, and so it was really odd marketing for that one. None of them, that's why Evil Dead is the definition of a cult film, because it became big on VHS rentals. And it's funny you mentioned UK because, as we know, it was one of the 92 movies on the Video Nasties list that was banned. And that one was one of the first unbanned because it doesn't hurt when a guy named Stephen King steps in and says, this movie's fucking fantastic.
Because he saw it at Cannes, and I believe he reviewed it for Twilight Zone magazine, right? Anyway, but we got to go back.
We're bouncing all over the place.
So, Kev, why don't you tell us, since you brought up Video Nasties, why don't you tell our 10 subscribers what Video Nasties are?
Hello, subscribers. Well, I've seen enough documentaries on it. I mean, I'm old, but I'm not that old. I didn't own a video store in 1982 in England and go to jail and shit. But the forefathers of the video store culture before me, they fought the brave fight and had to go to jail and shit and deal with what we call the movie police. Now, in early England, remember video stores, I know everybody's young and shit that's probably listening, or maybe you're old and you can relate, but video stores were popping up everywhere before Blockbuster and Rogers and all that stuff. They were all mom and pop video stores, right? And they would just ransack any movies they could afford to bring in their shops. And this is an age where, like, man, VHS tapes like $89.95 a pop, and that's like 1981 money. Like that's in England. So there was no age restriction, right? You could just walk right in to Bob's Video Store or whatever, and grab Dawn of the Dead and fucking Flesh-Eating Zombies and I Spit on Your Grave. So parents were getting a little bit irritated, in England especially, and they were like, think of the children and immoral corruption. I mean, this shit's been going on for decades. Remember in the 50s, it was the EC comic books, the Tales from the Crypt.
Yep.
They were eventually banned, of course. And then obviously video games. It was the music. And so, yeah, they had to put a clamp down on it. So the term video nasties apparently was born from the amazing hit cult TV show, The Young Ones. That was a BBC show.
Oh, okay.
Brilliant show. Because there's an episode in The Young Ones where they just got their VCR and they bring home some VHS tapes. Like, well, what are we watching tonight? And one guy's like, we're going to watch some video nasties. And like, it just flew up to that. So, moral of the story is you get more or less the movie police purposely picking movies that either A, the covers were too fucked up. Like, they weren't even watching movies. Like, they banned Driller Killer because of the cover. Have you ever seen Abel Ferrar's? I mean, in fairness, though, Abel Ferrars had more tact because the cover was literally a drill going into a guy's head. So it's like, they tried to ban the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is kind of funny because on the gore level, there's no blood in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's like two moments. When Franklin gets cut by the hitchhiker, and maybe you see a little bit of blood on the flashlight when Leatherface kills Franklin, I guess.
Yeah.
But the rest, because it's just so fucking gross and dirty and shit. But
well, yeah, because I remember when I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time when I was younger, I thought it was going to be so much nastier than it really was. Yeah,
it's a great movie. It's like one of my all-time favorites. It's all atmosphere. But I guess the point is, they had no exact code of why they were banning these movies. I mean, they were going from Evil Dead to like, Gestapo's Last Orgy, which is a Nazi exploitation movie,
I've heard of
multiple
it multiple times on the show.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If you ever want to delve into that fucking weird genre, that is like probably the cringiest one to watch. It's just, I remember when I first went to the video store and I had to like learn more about these movies, I took home like 5 70s Italian Nazi exploitation movies at the same time. And I figured I'm going to marathon these tonight. Man, by the time I got the third one, I had to stop, fucking have a shower, call my psychiatrist. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing to myself, man, but this can't be healthy. I got sweaty. My palms are all greasy now and shit. But so yeah, there was no like exact chart of why these movies were being banned. Yeah. So yeah, but the thing is, it was such a serious issue. They were being banned, and if retail, like if video stores were caught renting or selling them, they could shut your store down. They would come in and just take shit off your shelf. Oh, and you think this is an archaic practice? It's not. Before I had the store here, my buddy Chris had it for 1 year. It was called Oddity Cinema. He had it from like 04 to 05 until I took over. And but before that, he was in Vancouver. And it's funny, as rednecky and conservative as we think of Alberta, like the Texas of Canada, when it comes to like movie police, it's non-existent. Vancouver, when you think about Vancouver, you think very left-wing, progressive. My buddy's store, every fucking month they come in and just yoink, take shit off his shelf. No compensation or nothing. It's just, no, you can't have that, can't have that. This has to be up there. So yeah, it's totally different rules. So anyways, that's the video nasties. And it was a dangerous time for video stores and video store owners. But Evil Dead somehow made that list. But thanks to Stephen King, and who doesn't listen to Stephen King, especially that early 80s when he was king of the kings, they immediately pulled it off.
Yes.
So you're right, it did do well on VHS, and that's how the cult following began. But there's such a charm to that original movie, from just the layout, like the cabin itself is a character, obviously.
Oh yeah,
I love that element of like the environment itself is malicious and trying to kill them. In any story that gets me every time.
And the cinematography.
Amazing. I was just going to get to that. I mean, how many type of camera shots did Sam Raimi just invent? Like
pretty much,
he invented so much.
Invented the first 20 minutes of the movie too.
Yeah, pretty much. Even the last shot where the camera's flying through the house, the doors go down, and finally it gets to Bruce, and it's just, man, like the ram cam was invented in Evil Dead 2, I believe, where he had the camera, that pole goes through the window at the back of the classic. Oh, and let's give props. Evil Dead 1 also gave us, the movie audience, the first glimpse of the classic, which of course is Sam Raimi's vehicle, which he has used in every single movie he's done.
He has.
That's true.
Bruce Campbell said in this Q&A he did before the screening of Army of Darkness, I will throw the link up in the description of the video, but he said that he even got to use the Delta in Oz.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, apparently it is in Oz the Great and Powerful somewhere.
Huh.
Like, stripped to its parts. I don't know how, I don't know why, but...
Well, I want to
Fuck
know,
it.
over the last 40 years, how much money has Sam Raimi put into that car? Because they
Oh,
keep
geez,
wanting to
yeah.
destroy it, and he will not let it die. Like, I want to know, out of that, what's left of the car, how much is original pieces? You know, from the original, when he first bought it.
You know what, that's a...
It's got to be down to, like, one bolt and a nut, you know?
No, at this
It's a
point,
very
yeah.
ship's
Like-
easiest thing.
I'm pretty sure they tried to blow the fucking thing up away from Raimi, and he still found a way, no, I'm going to repair it.
Yeah.
Because, it's just one of those weird things. Also, in, I believe it was Evil Dead 1, when they go down to the cellar, that was the first nice, like, one director paying homage to another director, because
with
the
Hills of
poster
Eyes.
of Hills Have Eyes was there,
Yeah.
which is super cool. And then it's funny because Raimi kept that up with Evil Dead 2, because that came out after Nightmare on Elm Street, and Freddy's glove was...
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Um,
I was watching it. I was like, "Is that?" And yeah, okay,
Isn't
yeah,
there-
I noticed it as my.
Isn't
point.
there also an Evil Dead poster in Nightmare on Elm Street, if I remember correctly?
Yes, I believe...
Or were they watching
Oh.
Evil Dead?
It's something like that, because this joke kept going on, and then it even escalated to the point where nothing to do with Friday or Nightmare or Evil Dead, or it does with Evil Dead, but in Jason Goes to Hell, Friday Part 9, obviously the Necronomicon is in there. That's what gives Jason his powers, which again, okay, now it's just one director pissing on another one, or actually applauding another one, which is great. But yeah, no, the joke's been going on forever. And even in Stranger Things, I believe the Evil Dead 1 poster is in. In fact, he makes a comment, or the parent makes a comment, that poster's inappropriate or whatever, like in your bedroom. So, yeah, I am a sucker for those Easter eggs when directors pay homage to other directors.
This movie is strangely enough nostalgic for me. I saw this movie. I rented this from the video store in the town I lived in with Peter Jackson's Brain Dead or Dead Alive.
Oh, nice.
When I was 12.
Even nicer.
I know, right? And, you know, you said to me off camera, like, your parents would have chastised you for watching
My parents
this,
would have murdered me
for watching Evil Dead when you were 12.
because it's not a Spanish dub alone.
Oh, fair enough.
My parents were just like, yeah.
It's funny. You think my parents were the same way, but no, it was the opposite. They didn't want much in horror movies. So, but luckily we all had that one kid in the neighborhood whose parents didn't give a shit. That would have been you, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know, it was like that kid who could call his parents by like their first name, and I was all weirded out by that. Like, did you just call your dad Bob? Like, that's fucked up.
Well, I never,
You know, like,
I never did that with my folks, but like I had friends that would come over
Yeah.
that were raised in stricter households. Like I had one friend who came over and like I would show him like Clockwork Orange, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
You fucking name it. That R-rated movie he really wanted to watch. It was there.
Yeah, and but of course I watched my buddy's place. Then I go home, and the movies would freak me out, and I couldn't tell my dad why I was scared to go in the basement for whatever reason, because I was convinced either Jason was down there and shit, or like a deadite. Because they definitely affected me. But I will say, quite in open honesty, I actually saw Evil Dead 2 before I saw Evil Dead 1.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw Evil Dead 1 first, and then my dad turned me on to Army of Darkness later on, which is a movie we'll talk about later. And then later I watched Evil Dead 2 last, I guess, before the remake.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I mean, like, remake aside, like, I'm putting the remake aside, like, I think out of the original trilogy, Evil Dead 2 would have been the last one I saw. Loved it. I love all of them.
Yeah, it's weird because we're talking about the remake, but in a weird way, Evil Dead 2 is sort of a remake, at least for the opening 20 minutes. It is, right?
I guess we'll move on to Evil Dead 2 now. So before we do, Stefan, would you recommend the first one? Because you didn't get a lot in.
I did not. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that my opinion on these movies should be taken with a very big grain of salt.
Okay.
Because I saw these for the first time this weekend.
That is amazing.
In a chronological... Because my parents were very overprotective, and I'm a huge coward. So I got a late start on it. And... which is probably why I have like a lot of gripes with the first one, just because I'm not seeing it. I'm not necessarily seeing it with a mindset of, but it was the 80s.
But it was the 80s.
But it was the 80s. So from a technical point, like, the craftsmanship is incredible. I respect the shit out of it. I can't get over the fact that the characters are pretty much just kind of fodder to be either raped or murdered. That's kind of a me hang up, honestly, because again, it was the 80s.
Were you surprised the rape was involving a tree?
Yeah, I
never told him about it.
Yeah.
Way to give him the heads up,
Yeah.
man.
I know, right?
I was very surprised. But
I'm so fucking desensitized that I forgot that scene was even in the movie.
yeah. But so I'm gonna go ahead and, because spoiler alert, I love the next two movies, but it's just this one I have like a lot of gripes with.
No, fair enough.
It's just which is a lot of my own personal hang-ups, and a lot of I think I just kind of saw it too late. So I'm gonna go middle of the road, but with the emphasis that these two know way more about it than me, and they probably have a little more insight into it than I would.
I love this movie so much because no matter how corny and campy it gets at points, and no matter how charmingly silly some of the effects are, I still find it super atmospheric, and I find it super creepy. And as bizarre as someone getting raped by a tree is, I still find it to be just this really disturbing moment, just because of how it's shot and how...
See, I just think it's kind of exploitative.
It
was the 80s.
It was the 80s.
Like, that's like, yeah, it's exploitative, but yeah, like it was the 80s. Obviously, they wouldn't get away with this now. I'm actually surprised they got away with doing it in the 2013 movie.
Yeah, I mean,
but
yeah,
it's one of my, it's just one of those horror movies that defined the kind of movies I would later move on to love, and I'm glad I got to see it with Dead Alive, because that was a hell of a double feature. But fuck, like, this is the movie that got me into The Evil Dead.
Fuck yeah.
I love it dearly. And boy, I can't wait to talk about the other ones, because they're even better.
Big thumbs up there.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's funny how you mentioned that one and Dead Alive. Two directors will go on to make Lord of the Rings and Spider-Man. But everybody has their start. And I think that's the moral Evil Dead. Everybody has to start somewhere. And yes, obviously I'm recommending this movie because it has, like you said, it has the charm. The first half is quite creepy before anything happens. Like the setup, just the mood. So I'm with you. Then shit gets crazy. Tree rape scene aside, the rest, a lot of people would say, is almost getting campy with the effects. But I agree, 100% super charming. And there's something fascinating to me about those 80s special effects, because you can feel them. You can reach out and touch them,
Yes, they're like incredible.
I 100% appreciate CGI effects and shit, but like if you were a kid growing up in the 80s and you loved horror movies or sci-fi, no kid wanted to grow up and be a director. No kid wanted to grow up and be a writer or an actor. They wanted to be a special effects artist. They wanted to build the creatures and shit because they were like the rock stars of the genre. And now it's just like, so what? Basically, watching the making of those movies was awesome. We're getting the magazines. Now watching the making of a movie like that, I'm just watching a bunch of dudes in front of a computer screen, which is awesome. I mean, I could never do that, but it's not as cool as seeing shit built out of rubber and clay and just like, how are we going to shoot this? Now, like you really had to be creative, especially on a budget. Yeah. Evil Dead 1 is my second favorite out of the three. The thing is, I love them all, but for different reasons. Army of Darkness is my least favorite now. Now, we'll get into that. I love Army of Darkness, but I think they went too comedic for me a little bit.
Okay.
But now, of course, you got to see Evil Dead. Like you said, movies that got you into the genre, Evil Dead, Hills Have Eyes, like Jaws, obviously, and shit like that.
I saw Jaws when I was fucking 6.
I fucking love Jaws. If you ever want to do a podcast with the 4 Jaws movies, count me in, man, because I got shit to say.
I'd be down for that.
I binge all 4 of them, no matter how crappy they get as we keep going, like about once or 2 months in the shop. And I've been actually finding good stuff about Jaws the Revenge or Jaws 3D.
You would have to get me fucking pissed drunk to get me to watch Jaws the Revenge again.
Well, Michael Caine was there in the movie. You can do it too. And he was in it.
Actually, it was weird. I saw Jaws first, and then I saw Jaws the Revenge on TV.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I thought it was okay. But then I grew up, and I saw it again when I was like 15, and I went, the fuck am I watching?
Wait, did the shark just swim from the East Coast?
Yeah, basically.
Did it come to hunt down the last remaining Brody family members?
Yeah.
You bet your ass it did.
Nature is incredible.
It's fucking brilliant. And the fact that the shark was faker in 1970 than 1975.
Have you seen Jaws the Revenge?
Yes, I have.
Oh, good.
It's incredible.
Starring Oscar winner Michael Caine as Hoagie, the drunk gambling airplane pilot.
Didn't he, if I remember the story correctly, wasn't that the movie he was shooting, they
Yep,
couldn't
he
receive
couldn't accept his
for?
Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm in the Caribbean right now, filming Jaws 4: The Revenge. Why am I doing it? Because it's in the Caribbean, and I need to buy a new house. So
Yeah,
I said
well, yeah,
yes.
'cause that's the famous quote. Is like, I haven't seen Jaws: The Revenge, but I've seen the house it bought
That
me, and
built
it's great.
Brilliant.
Oh,
Also,
man's
it's-
got to work.
it starred the dude from Last Starfighter, too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
All right.
And Mario Van Peebles. Okay,
Yeah.
here we
All
go
right,
now.
Evil
Back
Dead
to
2.
Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2 was released in 1987, directed by Sam Raimi, of course, mostly starring Bruce Campbell, and
It's a fucking masterpiece.
It's amazing.
I loved it.
there's nothing... Okay, so yesterday, because I really insisted, like, him and I have to watch these together, because I just want to sit there and watch him
cool.
react. And I said to him, you're going to say, what the fuck is this movie, at least 3 times during both of these.
Mhm.
And boy, was I
Yep.
right.
Yeah, you're right.
Stefan, since you saw this for the first time yesterday, what'd you think?
This movie, okay, so as a big Looney Tunes fan, this movie got me on a personal level. I loved it so much. It makes very little sense if you really want to look at the continuity of it, but why the fuck would you do that? It's probably my favorite of the 3 or 4, I guess, quite honestly. I could probably watch it on repeat at this point.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've lost track of how many times I've seen Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 to me is like Return of the Living Dead. Like, those are the 2 that I've seen the most. And
God, yeah.
they have one great thing in common. It's the perfect blend of horror and humor. Both those movies.
Yeah.
And it's great to, like, I'm not telling parents that get all your kids into horror movies at 8 or 9 years old, make them watch these. But these are the ones you get them to watch at a young age.
Oh,
It's scary, but then you're like, oh, it's kind of funny, though, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they get like progressively a little less. Well, I mean, obviously the last one is like was like PG-13.
It was PG-13.
Yeah. So, but even this one, like, it's definitely a step down in terms of gore.
I love how you mentioned the your love of Looney Tunes, and you probably because you probably know that Sam Raimi's he's a huge Three Stooges. fan.
Yeah.
Huge. So yeah,
Oh, yeah, like, and the influence is clearly shown throughout the movie, like, watching Bruce Campbell get thrown around like a fucking rag doll.
well, and can we just say, like, this was Bruce Campbell's coming out movie, like, in Evil Dead 1, he played it pretty straight.
Mhm.
He wasn't really the lead guy. Until like the last 20 minutes, like you said, Ash was just one of the guys. In fact, we all thought the blonde dude was going to be the hero in the fucking thing.
He's just kind of some douche.
So
yeah, he's just got some dick.
I think if you look at it bigger, I'm not saying it's like, give the man an Oscar, but literally the first 40 minutes of that movie is Bruce Campbell and the cabin. Like it literally is, and the fact that he keeps your interest the entire way is fucking fantastic.
Because he's so charming and he's so funny and he's so. Even when he's overacting to shit.
That scene
so
where
good
he's
at that.
on the chair, the rocking chair, and like everything's like
laughing
and then it stops, and he does that weird laugh and he can't.
Because he looks like a cartoon character.
Absolutely.
Well, you even said so many times, like, there's so many different. He has so many different facial reactions that you could just use as like your wallpaper for Twitter.
Exactly.
So outlandish.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, if you want to see Bruce Campbell really stretch himself as a physical actor, like, this is the movie to go to.
Well, and I think it was almost a blessing in disguise that they couldn't get the right. I don't know what the legal thing was. They couldn't get the rights to use footage from Evil Dead 1 at the beginning, so they had to reshot it, but kind of basically erased all the other characters except for him and his girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
So they shot that, and they improved upon it in the opening 10 minutes, right out of the gates.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I think... Okay, so this is what I've kind of gathered based on what I know about who owned what at whatever times.
Again, thank God you're here.
Thank God.
The numbers, man. Hit me with the stats, baby.
I think... Okay, because I know when the first Evil Dead came out, New Line had it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep.
And I think New Line still had it in 87, but I don't know. And then Dino De Laurentiis did Evil Dead 2, and he also had a part in
King Kong
Army of Darkness.
Oh, yeah, that too, yeah.
Also, it's funny, Rosebud, the studio that distributed Evil Dead 2, that's actually a fake studio that Dino De Laurentiis made up so they could release an NC-17 movie.
Smart Dino.
Hell yeah.
Very smart, man. But Universal basically has all the licensing for Army of Darkness. Oh, and Evil Dead, the reboot, is done by Sony. So basically, all these movies are owned by different fucking studios. So of course it's going to be a pain in the ass to be like, hey, we need to use archive footage from the first one.
Yeah.
We have to just fucking reshoot it.
I love the
costs us
fact
money.
that they were able to find that high school to build the cabin set for part
Yes.
2. And obviously, again, movies with mistakes have big charms in continuity, all that jazz.
Yeah,
But I love that shot where you see Bruce running and the camera's tilted up and you can see there's no fucking roof on the cabin. You can literally see the high school roof gymnasium,
Yep.
which is fantastic.
Well, yeah, because didn't the cabin burn down or something?
Yeah, I think the original one from the original movie. Yeah, it was. Well, it must have, because if you think about it, fucking movie fans are, especially genre fans, they'll hunt down shit. Like, so if that cabin was still there, it should be a historical monument because tourists are going all the time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, shit. Remember when the Blair Witch came out? Everybody went to Burkittsville, were collecting dirt and rocks and sticks and shit and selling them on eBay, and people bought them because they're suckers. But yeah, no, and can we talk about, like, as charming as the effects were in Evil Dead 1, the fact that in Evil Dead 2, like, Greg Nicotero and KMB effects were just turning into their own thing. Prior to that, Nicotero, they were working under Tom Savini with, like, Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead and Creepshow. So this, to me, was Greg Nicotero's coming out party. Because, like, Greg Nicotero, they formed, and Kurtzman and Howard Berger, they formed KMB Effects. And, like, God knows how many Oscars that fucking company has won.
Mm-hmm.
And look at Nicotero now, man. He's a showrunner of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
He's doing Creepshow, the series. I mean...
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're making a TV show to Creepshow?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, see? It's good.
It better be good.
Well, I trust the powers that be involved. I mean, fucking Nicotero, he's the guy, maybe you just saw it recently on social media, he refurbished the original Jaws Shark. Like because that's his favorite movie ever.
Yeah.
So he rebuilt it. Man, he did an amazing job. It was not in good condition. Poor Bruce.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because some of those effects, again, I mean, there's a charm, like, obviously, when Ash's girlfriend comes back from the grave, it's the claymation doing the ballet dance and shit. Yeah. And the head spinning in.
Hilarious.
When he's like got her head in the vice grip and the severed body comes in with the chainsaw. And not only, like, instead of just going with straight like red blood, it's just running the black ooze, so over the top.
Oh yeah.
And if I might say, the scene, if you're going to give Bruce Campbell an award for any moment in this movie, it's definitely when his hand is possessed and smashing dishes over him. He manages to flip his entire body over.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we all know the stories that how Sam Raimi literally tortured Bruce Campbell in these movies.
Yeah, because I told you this. But yeah, like, he twisted his ankle or something on the set of the first one. And instead of being like, oh, are you okay? He's like, I'm just going to poke it with a stick.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how you treat actors.
Yeah, that's exactly how you treat actors.
He wasn't much nicer to his brother, Ted.
No.
Ted, of course, played Henrietta.
Yeah.
And the stories, they're just gross. Like, every time they had to take a break and he'd squeeze the sweat
like
out.
a liter out.
Like the liter of just like, oh,
yeah.
God. I mean, forget how that must have felt being in there, but the smell. And then, of course, another hilarious continuity thing. When he's rotating in the air, you can see the back is ripped open.
Oh, yeah.
Because the suit was ripping and shit.
Yeah.
But again, it's great. Like, when the eyeball flies in the woman's mouth, and you can see the fucking string or the wire.
Yeah.
Like, there was a version, I think, maybe where they try to digitally remove it. I'm like, don't remove it. At this point, it's
That's
part of
awesome.
lure, and it's cool. It's got the campy charm to it.
Oh, yeah, and that's why I still have the movies. I still have all of them on VHS.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to lose that charm. And if they keep, like, because I think they also did that with the Evil Dead Blu-ray as well, like the first one, where they started altering out a lot of the goofs and stuff. And it's like, don't.
Yeah.
Like, that's what makes it great. I mean, if that's the definitive version that people are going to see, I'm still glad that people are seeing Evil Dead, and I'm glad that Sam Raimi's not going at it the way George Lucas is doing with the Star Wars movies.
No, I mean, sometimes you just gotta let it be, man.
Yeah.
You just gotta let it be.
Sometimes
it's not yours anymore.
Exactly.
You listening, Lucas? I love you. Get back to the good stuff, if that's possible.
I really would love to see George Lucas make another, like...
He worked on The Mandalorian, though. So they had him on the set. See, it's weird, like, not to get sidetracked, but I'm really not that excited for episode 9. I'll be there opening night, of course. I'm a Star Wars nerd, but I'm not that excited. But the fucking Mandalorian... fired up. Like, I'm getting that Disney streaming site just for it.
That. Yeah.
Have you seen the footage for it yet?
Some
guy was at Star Wars Celebration, and he, like, it's like 4 minutes of an entire scene, and then the trailer. And the scene, even though there's people's heads away, I'm just right. Werner Herzog is the bad guy. Carl Weathers is in it.
Really?
Yeah, Werner Herzog's the bad guy.
IG-88 is in there whipping ass. Like, you're just like, holy fuck, this is going to be great. And, Jon Favreau is the guy fronting this whole thing, and Fabs did a good job with fucking Iron Man and shit. I guess he's a diehard Star Wars nerd. So he should probably get it right. But back to Evil Dead 2. Fucking, it just I guarantee you, anybody's listening to this must have seen Evil Dead 2. In fact, I guarantee more people have seen Evil Dead 2 than Evil Dead 1. I truly believe that.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I've had customers come in like, Cav, I only have time for one of the three. Like, I know, should I start with part 1? Usually I'd be like, yeah, start with part 1. I'm like, you could probably go with part 2. I mean,
Yeah.
they
It's
sum
not
up
like
part
you're
1 in the
missing
opening 5 minutes.
Narratively, part 1 is kind of irrelevant at this
It
point.
really is,
Yeah.
yeah. But even the supporting actors, like I love the hillbilly couple, Bobby
Yeah.
Joe,
Yes.
and they were great. Fuck, am I blanking out, or was there another tree rape in the second one?
There was almost.
So
there was
she got
almost.
away, right?
She
yeah,
got dragged away and
She got
implied
dragged
to
away.
get killed, but
Right.
they didn't like.
They don't really
go
show
that
it.
far.
No.
yeah, that's true. And yeah, when I was a kid, Henrietta scared the shit out of me. That thing was
Yeah.
terrifying looking.
Swallow your
Yeah.
soul. Swallow your soul.
Swallow this. Yeah.
Hey, at least somebody swallows.
And this one definitely let Bruce finally.
Good job,
Oh, very nice. This one let Bruce start showing his comical chops with the great
Yes.
one-liners.
Yeah.
I mean,
A little bit, yeah.
groovy. Yeah,
That's
I mean,
my-
it's been quoted to
Oh.
death. God bless.
I'll just keep doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's. God damn.
Now, the surprising thing, though, is at the end of Evil Dead 2, when he falls into medieval times and shit, that setup for the third one made it still kind of serious. Like, he was like, no, and like they're all worshing him right out of the gates.
yeah.
Whereas we know when Army Darkness begins, they ain't worshiping him at
Yeah,
all.
no.
It's just-
No.
They retconned that immediately.
God, just speaking of Bruce Campbell screaming, no! I love Bruce Campbell's overacting.
Mhm.
I love when he's just like wailing his arms up and just screaming, and it's so charming.
It-
Like, it just reminds me of, like, I don't know. Oh,
It's
God.
like you said, he's like a cartoon
Yeah,
character.
he's a cartoon character,
Yeah.
and like he's channeling like just people overacting in older movies, and like Stella, like
Oh yeah, he could easily been like Errol Flynn's Robin Hood and shit. You
Oh,
know,
fuck
like
yeah.
as like being like Bruce is he's just great. In fact, there's very few movies like a Bruce Campbell where he kind of plays it serious or like Maniac Cop. I guess he was sort of straight. He was
a
a straight
little
man in
bit,
that.
yeah.
For the 5 minutes he was in Congo.
The narrator in the Spider-Man 2 video game.
Yeah, well, he was in all three Spider-Man.
Oh
movies,
yeah.
And he is the only person in the Spider-Man movies, doesn't matter which series,
Mhm.
to successfully defeat Spider-Man.
That's true. He always thwarts Spider-Man. That's right.
Yes.
Like,
He thwarted Spider-Man's plan in Spider-Man 2.
and again, it's too bad Bruce never had the chance to like really star in a studio movie, like get like to be exposed. Sam Raimi fought really hard for him to be Darkman in Darkman,
really?
right?
Yeah.
But obviously the studio wasn't having it. Like,
Yeah.
no, we need a big guy. Although I'm curious, I don't know how well known Liam Neeson was here in North America at that time. If you look, like that was 1990.
What his breakout
That was-
have been?
Like, I remember him as the manager in what was supposed to be the big Justine Bateman from Family Ties would be Satisfaction with the girl band, but Justine Bateman's career never went anywhere, although Julia Roberts played the bass player, so... yeah.
What does that tell you?
Well, you gotta... I mean, let's be honest, guys, his big breakout role was fucking Schindler's List.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
When did Darkman come out? Did that come out?
1990.
Oh, okay, I thought that came out after.
I
Okay.
saw it as a double
That's what I
feature
thought.
at the drive-in with RoboCop 2.
Oh,
My parents took me. Good parenting, by the way.
oh, absolutely.
See RoboCop 2, but in a weird way, getting back to Bruce, Sam did get his wish because the last face we see as Darkman is Bruce Campbell at the end of that movie.
Oh yeah.
Because Frances McDormand played the love interest, which I actually
Yeah.
forgot about. And then you just hear the voiceover, I could be anywhere, anyone, and she's running out the empty streets, can't see anything, and then camera pans, and there's Bruce Campbell turns, and he's the Darkman. And I'm like, fuck yeah. Which is too bad. Why? I don't know why they couldn't get Bruce at least to be Darkman in those two directed VHS sequels.
Oh right, there were those.
Probably
Yeah,
because Sam wasn't really involved.
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah, probably because
Yeah.
Sam wasn't involved.
So yeah, as far as Evil Dead 2, look, it's to me, it's a 10 out of 10 on the Richter scale of awesome 80s like genre
Oh yeah.
horror, but with so much comedy and the effect shots, everything just came together. Even the imperfections worked in that movie,
Mhm.
and it's just hard to believe that people had to wait 5 years after that to see where. Oh, 6, sorry.
Yeah, about 5.
What happened to Ash at the end? You know?
Yeah. Well, because I don't even think they originally wanted to make an Evil Dead 2, did they?
No.
Because Sam Raimi did Crime Wave. With,
Crime Wave.
Joel
The
and
Coen
Ethan
brothers wrote that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Joel Coen was actually an assistant editor on the first one.
Mm.
And Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell actually helped Joel out to get Blood Simple funded.
Mm.
Yeah, because they starred in the prototype film that Joel Coen directed for that.
The other funny fact is, correct me if I'm wrong, but in 87 or 86 when they were shooting Evil Dead 2, their good buddy Scott Spiegel was shooting Intruder, which was a slasher movie that takes place in a grocery store. They were shooting it in Michigan as well, or somewhere around there. So that's why in that movie, Sam and Ted Raimi are in the movie as grocery store employees that get killed, and Bruce Campbell shows up at the very end as a cop in a cameo.
Nice.
Because they were all buds. So, it's like, third degrees. It's like, I like when the filmmakers help their buddies that are show up and shit, and end up in it. But yeah, I mean, if somebody has never seen Evil Dead 2, I think it's a no-brainer. You gotta recommend it.
For sure.
And especially, it's perfect for people that are trying to ease their way into horror movies that maybe are a little bit scared of horror movies, but the humor just evens it all out. I honestly, I can't see anybody having nightmares going to bed that night.
No.
Maybe if you're a kid, I guess, or fucking thinking about Henrietta sneaking up on you, because that shit's still fucking terrifying. There's something about, like, who's in my fruit cellar? And it's that one shot where Bruce is fucking crawling up the stairs, and then she's in the foreground of the shot, and that big fucking gross zombie ass, like getting close, those chunky legs of hers, knowing that it's like, now that knowing it's Ted Raimi and they're losing like fucking 5 quarts of water every hour he's in that suit or whatever. Jesus.
I'm also on the 10 out of 10 would recommend train on this. There is nothing wrong with this movie. Even the imperfections are perfect, like you said. It's just so charming. It's one of the best. It's one of the quintessential horror comedies. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's not that hard to find.
I think that's the easiest thing to say. Just go watch it.
Yeah, go watch it. Like, there's nothing I can tell you that will prepare you for what Evil Dead 2 is.
Did you see our short spoof we did for on one of our older Tales from the Lobby ones?
I think I did, yeah.
That was because that was before we were doing original kind of content in the video store.
Yeah.
Whatever movie we were showing at the Garneau Theater, we do like a spoof on it. And we've shown all 3 of them over. We were showing Army Darkness. So yeah, we tracked down the junk seller down the street. We tracked down one of those old school timey tape recorder things. She wanted like fucking $80 for it. I'm like, I just want to borrow it for like an hour. She's like, so I rented for like $10. But yeah, like we're basically, we say the words, I turn into a fucking deadite, and my buddy Josh turns into Bruce Campbell here in the store, and all hell breaks loose. It's just, Evil Dead's been spoofed so many times. All of them have, actually. Yeah, anyways, don't want to get sidetracked. But, so, I'm impressed with you, because it's your first time seeing it just in a couple days, and you just gravitated towards it quickly.
I'm not going contrarian on this movie. I fucking love this movie. Like, I think like if you are like me and you're not super into a lot of horror stuff, this is like the perfect gateway drug. This is because it's got horror trappings in it, but it's not. I don't really see it as a horror movie. It's just a slapstick comedy that happens to have horror elements in it.
Absolutely.
Plus Henrietta, obviously. And yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. I think it's definitely my favorite of the 4, I guess.
I think it's my second favorite of the 4. Which will tell you what my favorite is soon. Fun fact before we move on to Army of Darkness, though, there's also that Stephen King connection, because Stephen King actually is part of the reason why this movie got funded.
That's enlighten our audience, my friend.
Yes. Okay, so Stephen King.
Can't you be throwing out facts out backing him up, motherfucker? Time to shine, baby.
Who's Stephen King? I need to know.
Yeah. As he looks at his Wikipedia.
Yeah. Stephen King was a cokehead at one point. No, Stephen King talked to Dino De Laurentiis and convinced him to fund Evil Dead 2. Because Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell were struggling to get the film funded, I believe.
I love learning new shit.
I know.
It's amazing.
I'm learning a lot today, yeah.
I am learning shit, too.
I read too much about these fucking movies, but I love them so goddamn much. Anyway, Army of Darkness.
Somebody's has to do it, yeah. Well, since you know all the facts, I assume you can tell your loving audience the troubled production of Army of Darkness.
Oh, yeah. So, Kev, why don't you do it? Because you haven't actually described any of these movies yet.
Well, I'm going to describe the movie. I'm just... it's funny because I remember buying an issue of Fangoria magazine. Yeah. I believe it was like 1990 or 91. And it was being filmed. And we're like, holy fuck, Evil Dead 3. And at that time it was still called Evil Dead 3. That's in 1990 or 91. And then as the months went on, I was like, what happened to Evil Dead 3? What is going on with this production? Unfortunately, from what I understand, Dino De Laurentiis and Universal, and there's a big bitchathon, and it really had nothing to do with that movie in particular, but that movie was a pawn in this overall, like, who's controlling what movies and what studio and shit. And I can't remember what the actual movie they were fighting over was, but somehow the Evil Dead, Army of Darkness got stuck in this vortex of litigation bullshit. And literally from the day they were in pre-production of Army of Darkness, again, I don't know the exact year. It might have been, I don't think it was 89, but definitely 90 or 91. It finally got dropped, like just dumped in theaters, and like, fuck, I want to say like January of 93.
Of course.
And I want to say January. The reason I want to say it, because if growing up, going to enough movies, studios used to consider September and January the dead months, where they had no confidence in these movies.
Yeah.
Because September, all the Hollywood ones are done, and then, or all the summer blockbuster ones done, and obviously January, all the award winter movies run their course.
Yeah, like some of them are going into wide release at that point, but mostly it's just dumping ground for bullshit. Yeah,
and I don't know exactly the whole writing process thought on the story of Army of Darkness, because it seems like such a drastic change. I mean, Evil Dead 2 definitely gave us a lot more humor and stuff.
Yeah.
But with Army of Darkness, I can't remember, was it Raimi's idea to go PG-13?
Well, it's not PG-13. It's actually it's still R.
It wasn't R?
It is an R. It doesn't feel like an R.
It wasn't. I can tell you right now, I don't think it was R in Canada, because, or if it was, nobody was letting anybody in a theater that night, because I wasn't 18. I was like 15 or 16 when it came out.
Definitely strikes me as 14A.
Yeah, like it's definitely not R here, but I know the MPAA gave it an R. Apparently, again, according to this Q&A I watched with Bruce Campbell, which I will throw in the description because it's fucking hilarious. But he actually said that Army of Darkness initially got an NC-17.
Wow, I want to see that cut of the movie.
I think that was the director's cut.
Okay.
But again, it does not look like the kind of movie that would get an NC-17. The way Bruce Campbell described it was, he said, like the opening of Goodfellas, you see all this horrific violence and all this fucking swearing, but you cut off a head in Army of Darkness and dust comes out and you get an NC-17. Yeah,
it was double standard. It was like, it was, it might have had to do with time, because I remember the late 80s, early 90s, the MPAA was going hardcore after horror movies. Being a 13th fan my whole life, you could see if you go from part 1, which got in 1980, to part 7 or 8, which would have been the height of the MPAA hysteria. Like part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, whether you like it or not doesn't matter, but it's practically bloodless. Like every scene was chopped. Part 7 took the biggest beating, and that footage will never be recaptured because it was just too destroyed. But yeah, so maybe that affected, the whole rating thing with Army of Darkness.
I think so, yeah. And also the MPAA, I've noticed and I've read about, seem to have a huge double standard against smaller studios and smaller movies and stuff like that. And obviously that affected, Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, and maybe they were just going after them because, fucking Sam Raimi again with his Evil Dead bullshit.
First things first, can we talk about the opening of Army of Darkness when you have to shake your head, make sure your eyes are looking right and going, is that Bridget Fonda as Bruce Campbell's girlfriend? And then you're like, yes, it is.
And then you go, holy shit, they recasted her again.
But you're like, why is Bridget Fonda in this movie? And the story I heard is she's just a big Evil Dead fan at that time. She loved Evil Dead. And don't forget, when that movie came out, Bridget Fonda was well-established actress. Single White Female had come out. The American version of La Femme Nikita was coming out. She was doing movies. And I'm like, there she is, showing up in this. God bless. Right off the bat, even though it's not my favorite now, but I'll never forget, one of the perks about being older is I got to see it in the theater opening night with a packed house. And man, I'd never be able to recapture those goosebumps, because you could tell everybody in the crowd was Evil Dead nuts.
Oh yeah.
I remember a lot of people at that night didn't like it, after the theater, because they were expecting a horror movie and they didn't get a horror movie. But I was caught up in the hilarity of it. Like that movie, just because it's only an hour and 21 minutes, the American cut, right? It's short. So it starts and it doesn't let up at all. Like that pit scene right at the beginning, which is probably the most blood in the entire movie, where the blood sprays.
Yeah,
up
and it kind of looks like a Slurpee.
Yeah,
Cream
exactly.
soda.
Like you just glued right in.
Oh, yeah.
It was just nonstop action for me. And comedy hijinks too.
Yeah.
Like there was no time really to breathe in that movie.
No,
it didn't
not really.
slow down. Like
It just kind of keeps going and going. And also, with the director's cut, I think I told you this, but the ending's different.
Yeah.
And also the director's cut gives more room for breathing and stuff like that. Like because it's 15 minutes longer.
mm-hmm.
So it gives you a little more breathing room. And also the ending is different. In the director's cut, it ends with, okay, so the theatrical cut ends with Ash going back to his own time. He has to say the words and then he sleeps for a certain period of time and wakes up in his own time. In the director's cut, he sleeps too long and winds up in the apocalypse.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Which ending do you prefer?
Because I saw it first, for some reason I still prefer the S-Mart ending, just because I love it dearly, but I love both endings. Again, just my love of Bruce Campbell overacting and screaming, "No!" I love the apocalypse ending.
What would have been great is, because, with the latest edition that came out in Blu-ray, you get all three versions of the movie.
Actually, all four, because I think there's...
Did they...
I think there's a fourth cut. Do you have the Blu-ray here?
I do, but it's only 3 discs. It says 3 versions. I believe.
I'm going to go look at it.
So upon further inspection, how many versions were there?
Okay, so upon further inspection of the Shout Factory Blu-ray, they put 4 cuts on there. So I was right.
That's a free plug for you, Shout Factory. Send these boys some free movies.
Please, God. I'm running out of money so quickly.
God damn it. I just...
Lower your prices, please.
Get me that Human Centipede fucking...
Oh, I got that coming in, this fucking, the trilogy pack. That's why I can get it.
I kind of almost want to watch Human Centipede 3 because it just sounds like such
it's ridiculous. There's no script. Tom Six, just let the actors yell at the camera.
Oh, good!
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
The Shout Factory release has 4 cuts on it. There's the theatrical cut, the international cut, the director's cut, and the television cut.
Right.
And Kevin, why don't you tell us a little bit about what television versions are?
Well...
and why they're so important.
I'm so glad you asked.
Good.
Because back in the day... I got my radio voice going on. I can't help it. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
Right now, 375 Jagger on special. Go talk to your bartender. Yeah, that's what I do in the nighttime. All right. So, back in the day when movies were set to be televised, like on regular TV, Halloween 1 is the best example I got. They wanted the running time to more or less stay the same, but they couldn't show certain scenes on television because censorship was much stricter back then. So they would actually go out and reshoot more footage to fill in the gaps of, we're going to remove this boob shot, but we don't want to lessen the time of the movie. So here we'll throw in this random dialogue scene that isn't necessary, but it's still kind of cool. I still wish, because there are 4 versions of this movie, it'd be nice to have a 5th version. And I say 5th because even though I like the alternative ending with the post-apocalyptic ending, a lot of the best jokes from the American ending or movie in the middle of the movie are no longer in the British cut, because it's like they used cut the second take or the third take and the jokes were switched. So some stuff I prefer in the director's cut, like the separation of evil and good Ash, but on the other hand, we miss out, like I was saying, on some of the greatest one-liners, like good, bad, I'm the one with the gun, right? Which was replaced. I can't remember the exact line. It was something along that lines, but it just didn't click as well.
Yeah, it felt really stilted and awkward.
Yeah, he does say something about a gun, but I got a gun. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just wasn't that great. What I loved with the effects, again, sure, there wasn't that much blood, of course. It was more adventurous and fantasy. But this movie felt to me like Sam Raimi and the K&B guys were able to bring out their love of Clash of the Titans and the Ray Harryhausen kind of stuff.
Definitely got Clash of the Titans.
With the stop motion going on. I love the Skeleton Army.
I love how they're playing.
I love that
instrument.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. I love the opening credits with the music is awesome. Was it Danny Elfman did the music for it?
Danny Elfman did the March of the Dead.
Right, yeah. But I love how the opening credits is Bruce Campbell versus the Army of Darkness. That was fucking cool.
That was fucking cool.
Although I still kind of like the title Medieval Dead.
Oh, the Medieval Dead is
That
a
definitely
great
would have
title.
kind of had better continuity with the other movies.
Yeah.
but Army of Darkness is a pretty cool.
They didn't want continuity though, right?
Yeah,
we talked about it
I
earlier.
guess talking about continuity in these movies is really kind of a moot point.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, as far as like the Army of Darkness, I feel you could literally show that to like if I like a 10-year-old. It's fun.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just a fun movie, and Bruce is just so ridiculous. And I mean, hail to the king, baby. I mean, that was another movie that didn't do well in theaters, but holy crap, as the 90s kept going on and the VHS tapes are circulating, that movie to me was like a party movie. And I can say for a fact, we owned a 35 millimeter print of Army of Darkness. We bought it.
And I think I've seen that print because you screened it at the Garden.
We showed it 3 times over the years. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we made a drinking game out of it, which is pretty awesome.
Fuck yeah.
And yeah, no, it's a party movie. It's a fun movie. I still like Evil Dead 2 better. But it's like comparing apples and oranges, though.
They're very,
Well, forget that. I mean, let's compare Evil Dead 1 to Army of Darkness. Like, holy crap. It's totally 2 different spectrums, right?
You guys ready for my hot take?
Yeah.
Okay, so not only is this my favorite Evil Dead movie.
I'm glad you went with this. I was worried you were going to say the 2013 one. Okay, go ahead.
The fuck, man? No,
I don't know you young kids,
Not only is this my favorite Evil Dead movie, this is one of my 10 favorite movies of all time.
How many times would you say you've seen it?
You know what? Okay, if you ever talk to my partner, he'll tell you that I've seen it, like we've seen it the most out of any movie we've watched in our relationship.
Okay.
And we've been together for 6 years.
Is he a partner as big a fan as you?
I think he's tired of me going, let's watch Army of Darkness again. So that should tell you something. He's watching Ash vs. Evil Dead right now.
Awesome.
So yes, he's a fan. But the amount of times I've dragged him to go see Army of Darkness in 35, one of the screenings you did.
Yeah.
I watch it as many times as I can. Like, I've seen it so many times, and it's my favorite movie that my dad introduced me to, and it's like our kind of favorite movie together, so it's got a lot of history
that's cool, man.
Yeah. And also, we were talking about how, like earlier, I was talking about how Bruce Campbell shows off a lot of his physicality in Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Whereas here, he shows off how good he is at taking this shitty, corny, stupid fucking script and owning every single line and making me go, fuck yeah!
Yeah. His one-liners, from maybe, just maybe, me and my boys can stop them from getting the book. Yeah, and I'm a Chinese jet pilot. And I'm like, God, these lines are fucking gold. Or even when like they're doing the montage of like getting the army ready and he's showing them how to make gunpowder and the wizard like is holding the bag of gunpowder. Let's not even talk. The metal glove. Like when he brings in the groovy line again, I mean, it was fucking first you want to kill me, now you want to kiss me. Whoa.
And the women just feeding grapes or
whatever.
Yeah.
No, my favorite part of watching this again with you, Stefan, was when Bruce Campbell says, give me some sugar, baby. And I thought I had to pause the movie at one point because you were just done.
Yeah.
And then every fucking movie nerd growing up tried to use that one point in their life in a date. And it doesn't work at all. And you know why it doesn't work? Because you're not Bruce fucking Campbell. That's why it doesn't work.
Stefan, next time you go on a date, use it. Do it,
just give it a go. Give it a go.
She won't punch you in the face. I'm
sure. If you feel the date's not going well, what do you got to lose, right?
Exactly.
Fuck it.
Exactly.
You'd be like, what would Bruce Campbell do right now? You know?
Bruce Campbell would probably tell you not to use that fucking line.
I don't think I have a strong enough chin to pull it off.
No, fair enough.
But I think my favorite line in that entire movie is, I got news for you, pal. You ain't leading nothing but two things here. Jack and shit.
Jack left town. Yeah,
I had to rewind the fucking movie because you didn't even hear that line. I was like, come on.
Yeah, but it's funny because, it's for such a goofy movie, but then it gets all noble like Henry the Red. Like,
oh, yeah.
Actually, I love the actor that played Henry the Red. That guy apparently was like, he was a big, burly party guy when they were filming. Like, they were going drinking every night. But
of course.
I love that scene where Bruce tells him, let him go. And then when he grabs the guy by the face, just laughs at him. Thank you, kind host. For that arrogance, I shall have you killed. Yeah.
I love how he kicks the guy down as he's pulling the sword out.
Who wants some?
There's
you?
so many...
You want some?
There's so many great little nuances in the comedy.
Yeah, it really
Like,
is.
There's so much to digest from that movie that, yeah, like, it's absolutely my favorite Evil Dead movie. It's one of my 10 of all time, which I was expecting you to question that throughout the entirety of the film.
No, I watched this and I was like, okay, I understand a lot more.
I
about
can
Chris
understand
now.
a lot, yeah. I'd really like to. I mean, the thing is, this movie. Obviously, all three of us are recommending it to anybody.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
fucking
Oh, yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Shut your brain off. Have a good time. Get the
Yeah.
popcorn and beer. Do what you got to do.
So much beer.
So, if you don't mind, I'd like to lead into Evil Dead 2013, if that's okay with you.
Fuck, finally.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
So,
do
Evil
it.
Dead. Like, look, I don't hate it. Okay, I don't. Because I've come to terms with reboots and remakes. It's not for me. It's not my generation. I had my fix in the 80s when I was a kid in the 90s. Now they're trying to introduce it to a younger generation and make it more edgy and more cool. Now, they did try to bring it back to Evil Dead 1 roots with obviously the tone was dead serious.
Oh, yeah.
No fucking
Yeah.
around. And it was a hit. And remember, Bruce Campbell said, he goes, if this movie is a hit, then we'll give you Army of Darkness 2. Like that I'll be back. And we got something even better. We had 36 episodes or 30 episodes
30.
of Ash. So,
We got 15
it was
hours.
a win-win. My issue with this movie, at first, before the hype machine on all the horror movie websites, Dread Central, Blade Disgusting, was like, they were comparing this remake to like a brilliant remake like Cronenberg's The Fly or The Blob
I remember that.
or John Carpenter's The Thing. So I was getting fucking way too amped up for this.
Mhm.
We saw it opening night. I was getting ready to see like it's going to be hardcore. It's going to be insane and super tense. And the gore was there. I can't fault the effects. It was bananas.
No.
It was
Yeah.
really cringy and shit. But to me, and it's just my opinion, they forgot to give me characters I give a shit about.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was intrigued with the idea of she's a recovering drug addict. So
Yeah.
at first, they're maybe
fuck
when
yeah.
she's possessed, they're just assuming it's a drug. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of clever. And the fact that is it a remake or is it a sequel? It takes place in the same universe because Ash's car is still there. It's buried, right? The production design looked fucking fantastic. The cabin looked great.
The effects are great.
The setup to how the Evil Dead is released, this one, I could not tolerate the stupidity of. In the original Evil Dead, look, they just played the professor's tapes. They're listening to it. They don't know they're unleashing a spirit. They're like curious. We're all curious. This one,
Where's
the
this one?
dude finds a fucking book wrapped in like black plastic with fucking barbed wire or rope around it. If that doesn't say don't fucking read me or open me, I don't know what does.
I mean, there literally is like red writing that's like, hey, don't fucking say this.
You will fucking die. And then,
Yeah.
so of course he does. And then the thing that kind of annoyed me was the exposition of every time he flipped to a image in the book, we know that's going to happen in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, we get it. Like, yeah, it's going to happen. And I mean, yeah, they had the one guy dressing up as this. He almost had the same clothes as Ash did,
Yeah.
like the jeans and kind of the flannel top.
Yeah.
And what irked me is the director kept saying, please don't compare this to the other movies. This is its own thing. I'm like, cool. And if it's own thing, quit doing homage shots to the other ones. Like,
Well,
look, she's cutting her hand off again. And then I'm disappointed it doesn't
she's
come to
getting
life.
raped by a tree again.
Yeah.
I never thought the tree rape would be something that they're trying to nostalgia pander to me.
Yeah,
Even
of all the things you bring back.
Even
Take it home.
the fight in the flooded cellar was definitely a throw. And if you notice the brick walls, that was throwback to the pit in Army of Darkness. Like it was very identical. Again, did not hate it, but I'm glad it made money and we got the TV show eventually. But I tried to rewatch it again, like at the shop. I'm like, I'll give it a watch. I'm like, it's like, it's forgettable to me. It's not memorable to me in any way, except people are like, oh, Cap, it's so gory. I'm like, there'll be more gory movies coming out that are better written.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to badmouth the movie because it served a purpose. They were produced by Bruce Campbell and fucking and Raimi. And I remember, unfortunately, Bruce, when he was in Calgary Expo, I think somebody I know asked him a question. She was kind of like, oh, what did you think about the remake? And then I'm like, oh, God. Because, apparently his response was, you mean the one that I produced, that I worked on? The one that we wanted to make money?
Yeah,
and she just felt like, oh. I'm like, so I'm not going to like, obviously, fuck it, man. They made their money. And it was more or less loved by the horror movie community, although it's been 6 years now? 6 years now since it came out.
About 6 years.
Nobody talks about it anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? It's kind of not stand the test of time. And that to me is, You don't know a movie's impact if it's going to be good until maybe it's been out 5 years. That's why I joke they should give out Oscars 5 years after the movie came out for that movie.
I hear that opinion surprisingly frequently.
Because if you look back at some of the Oscar winners, like, you know, I mean, 94 was when I was younger. That's when I said I'm done with the Oscars. So Pulp Fiction was fucking nominated for everything, but it lost to Forrest Gump and everything.
Yeah.
No offense to Forrest Gump, but here we are fucking 30, 25 years later. Which movie do people still reference, talk about is Pulp Fiction?
Exactly.
Forrest Gump gets brought up maybe once a year in a conversation.
Usually as a joke.
1990,
Yeah, usually
same
a joke.
thing. Dance with Wolves and everything. I'm not saying it's not a good movie. It's a great movie, but it beat out Goodfellas. And like, which movie do people talk about more and more,
Goodfellas.
right? So, anyway, story gets sidetracked.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna say, hell, look at like last year when Green Book won Best Picture. And what do people reference more? Literally any of the other nominees.
Actually, I thought last year was a weird year because I don't remember any of the other nominees either.
Black Klansman. I remember.
Oh,
Black
yeah.
Klansman.
I didn't hate Green Book. Actually, saw it with a girlfriend.
I
And
still haven't seen it.
although
yet. I
she
don't-
I
joked,
really hated
there
it.
is the scene where, and I love both actors. I fucking love
great
both
actors.
actors. But there's that scene where after the cops pull him over in the rain and he's like ranting to Vigo or whatever. My girlfriend's like, this will be the clip they show when he wins his Oscar. Like, this is the Oscar moment, you know? And I look at her like, bang on. And I'm pretty sure that's the clip they fucking
I'm
used.
pretty sure that,
all I heard was Viggo Mortensen teaches Mahershala Ali how to eat fried chicken, and I went, I don't know if I want to watch this.
Yeah.
It's at that point that I seriously considered shutting it off.
Fair enough.
But
yeah,
I mean,
let's get back
anyway,
on track,
so
I suppose.
Evil Dead 2013 is not good.
That's actually, it's funny. That's gonna be like my way I describe it. Even at 2013, it served its purpose.
It
like
did it.
that's it.
It's
That's
a
my
movie.
review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, okay, so the biggest problem with this movie, and we keep bringing it up, is the writing.
Mhm.
I want to talk about the scene where we are first introduced to these fucking characters, because it is pathetic. It
Yeah.
was pathetic when I saw it in high school. It is pathetic now, because it's literally just them going, oh, hi, I'm so-and-so, and this is so-and-so
Yeah.
who does
Yeah.
this thing, and this person's a registered nurse,
It-
and this one's a drug addict.
It was at that point that when I was watching, because I realized, like, wait, I know Fede Alvarez is Uruguayan. This is, like, way more exposition than an English script should have.
Yeah.
And then I look it up. Oh, it was originally written in Spanish. And then it was localized by
Right. That's
Diablo Cody.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so stilted at times. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say it's awful, except in that one scene, but, like, you tell, like, that delivery doesn't really work for that verbiage or whatever the
Mhm.
fuck. Yeah, and that was just my observation.
Yeah.
The whole movie kind of suffers from a lot of show don't tell, really.
Yeah.
Tell don't show.
I mean, it
Telling
just,
and not showing. There you go.
it had a bunch of ideas just with the blood rain at the end. I did appreciate the chainsaw blowjob thing when she just jams it in the thing's mouth. But
that was
Yeah.
great.
and then did you guys see the director's cut, like the one that came, the extended cut that came out?
I
This
saw
was
whichever one was theatrical.
Okay.
I actually watched it for the first time for this show.
Okay.
It is definitely gorier.
It's a little bit gory, and there's that extra scene at the end. It's
Yes,
not, it's
there's that
it's
post-credit scene.
it's she gets picked up
Yeah.
by the truck. That wasn't in the theater cut, and then she's still like her eyes kind of go.
Actually, speaking of that cut and going back to television versions,
Yeah.
apparently what happened was this cut originally aired in the UK, I want to say a couple of years ago, like before the Blu-rays and the digital thing ever came out, because the studio sent them the wrong cut.
Right.
So if we want to talk about television cuts coming back, here we go.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point. But yeah, no. So it served its purpose, and look, if you're into gore, that's the only way I can recommend it. And
Basically.
if you just like supporting Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, watch it.
I really wish they had done more with the drug kind of throw line. Like, because if they were going to go, like, serious and not goofy like most of the other Evil Dead movies, then, like, that would be what I would be looking for, like, kind of a compelling subtext about drug abuse and how we treat drug addicts. And it kind of looked like they were going that route, but it doesn't really capitalize on it, I feel.
No, it really
There's
doesn't.
no real
No.
conclude.
I mean, horror
Yeah.
movies are always great to use as social commentary.
Exactly.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
they can cover it up by saying we're a horror movie or a sci-fi or fantasy, you know. They can
That's what
deal
made me
with some heavy issues.
That's what made me come around on the genre, really.
Mhm.
It's the potential for that kind of commentary. And yeah, it's a lot of missed opportunities. I really like some of the set pieces. I think the blood rain scene looks great, even if I wasn't that invested.
Yeah.
I think
Well, because by then you're like, oh god, when's this fucking thing gonna end?
I think Because I don't really have a nostalgic connection to the first one because I wasn't that huge of a fan of it, and I saw them within the space of 48 hours. I think this movie kind of has like the opposite problem in terms of characters, where they explain too much to the point where it just becomes annoying to hear about them.
Well, and also they're just kind of there, like they don't really have any personalities.
Yeah,
like
they developed some of them. I don't know anything about the blonde girl.
No, really, I know nothing about the blonde girl. But the thing is that, like, if you asked me about any of the other characters in the first 3 movies, I could be like, oh, hey, that person is like this, and they have this kind of personality. You ask me about any of them in the remake, and it's just like, nope, I have no fucking idea.
I think I watched it last about a year ago because I wanted to watch the director's cut when I got it in the store on Blu-ray. And I don't remember any of the characters. I don't remember any of the actors. Did any of them go on to do anything big after? Are they well-known actors?
Jane Levy went and did Don't Breathe with
yeah.
The others are mostly just kind of steady work at this point.
Probably.
From what I saw on Wikipedia page. And good for them, but...
Yeah, no, for sure, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
none of them like were bad, I would say. It's just they were pretty poorly written and kind of annoying.
Yeah. This is a very conflicting movie for me because like it's got lots of potential to do really good things, and there are some really great moments in the movie, but then there's the things I fucking hate about this movie, like the writing. So I'm very middle of the road on this. It is what it is. I wish it was so much better than what it was. And I do remember them hyping the shit out of this movie when it came out, too. And I remember being really excited for this because I saw this like pretty much opening weekend in high school. I can't believe they let us in. It was me and a group of friends. I dragged them all to go. And they were so uncomfortable the whole time because they just saw the tree rape scene. They're like, what the fuck is this? And I just went, oh my God, this movie is just kind of bad, too.
Yeah,
I was so let down.
Again, I'll give him credit. Like the tree rape scene was pretty fucking rapey.
It was,
and veiny. The tree was like it wasn't a stiff branch anymore. Now it was all like wrap it up and
I felt it was a little more exploitative this time around, just based on how
they killed the dog. Man, that's exploitive.
Fuck this movie for that. Like every time I see a dog in these modern fucking horror movies, it's always gonna die, and I hate it so much. I can't handle animals.
That's true. They killed the dog in Hereditary too. Well, you don't see it die; it's just laying there dead.
Yeah. Can we honestly just have Keanu Reeves just go into all these horror movies and just kill the people who kill these dogs? Please.
I'd watch it.
I'd watch it.
John Wick Chapter 4 is just him killing any character in a movie that kills dogs.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That would be fucking right.
But I think in the end, when we say this movie served its purpose, because what we're going to talk about right now, shit, running out of time.
Yes.
This movie is the reason we got Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Yes, which
I have not watched. So
you have not watched.
But
I probably will at this point.
We're going to convince you to watch it.
Yeah, well, we can literally. So now, it's funny. When the show first started, like season 1, I'm sure we thought the same thing, like, oh, I guess they're ignoring the Army of Darkness storyline, like it never happened, because it literally gets introduced and they show scenes from part 1. They must have got the rights back for part 1, by the way, because I've used scenes from part 1 and 2.
Well, I think Anchor Bay has the rights right now, and Stars is I don't know what the whole connection is, but I know like the Blu-rays for Ash vs. Evil Dead are released by Anchor Bay as well.
Right.
So I think they just got lucky with that. But yeah, no, I remembered like they basically just treated Army of Darkness like it never happened, and that's because there was rights issues again with Universal.
Mm-hmm. But then as the show progressed, Ash makes the reference, I think it was in season 2, like, hey, this isn't the first time I've time traveled. Yeah. So it's like, oh shit, they got the rights back. And we were all excited, like, oh, they're going to now incorporate this. What I love about, I think a lot of people were surprised by the show, how hilarious it was. Like, they went full the jugular with the humor again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ash still works at S-Mart or an S-Mart type of place.
Yeah, like I think it's called Value Stop.
Yeah, they maybe they just couldn't get the rights for the S-Mart thing.
Probably not.
And we get introduced to some really likable new characters, and that's the tough part with a show like this. Pablo is one of my, like, first of all, his hair is amazing.
Oh yeah.
He's a young guy that works with Bruce at the thing, and they watch WWE, they watch Raw and SmackDown together.
Yeah, they watch Monday Night Raw together.
Yeah, and Bruce is still the biggest fuck up ever. He's still hitting on chicks at the pub, banging them, and the hilarity was like, oh, I wonder how the Deadites are going to come back. Like, I wonder what magical thing Bruce did to cause it. Yeah.
He just got really stoned.
He got stoned with a chick, tried to impress her because she apparently liked good literature, so he busted the Necronomicon and reads it while he's high. That's the whole setup.
I appreciate the consistency of Ash being a total fucking
idiot.
moron.
Yeah. Oh, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What I loved about it, like a lot of people at first are complaining about too much CGI effects, but it's a TV show, it's not a movie, so it's cheaper. But there were a ton of practical effects in the movie. The amount of blood they used. And creative practical effects. From the morgue scene where we have to find the Necronomicon to obviously Ashy Slashy, the hand puppet.
That was great. Like, the fucking hand puppet in season 2. I don't want to spoil too much. I prefer season 1 over season 2. I haven't finished season 3 yet, but so far it's really good.
Did you notice something weird about the last episode of season 2? How it just came out of left field?
It just kind of feels like it took everything it was setting up and just kind of dropped it.
They did. They literally did. There was a huge issue with, I think, the showrunner. And they literally scrapped an original idea for how they were going to end season 2, and they went a different direction.
Oh, Jesus.
So,
because I think my favorite episode of the show, oddly enough, is, I think it's episode 7 of season 2.
Okay.
Where Ash is in the institution.
Oh, yeah. That was actually really cool.
It reminds me of, some of the, an episode of, like this episode of BoJack Horseman where it's, centered exclusively around him giving this eulogy.
Yeah.
It feels like that. If that gives you any sort of idea.
That's one of my favorite episodes. Yeah,
it is an amazing episode of the show, and it's my favorite episode of the show. And I'm really disappointed that they just kind of drop it after episode 8, just very conveniently. And I wish they did more with that.
That was season 2?
That was season 2. Yeah,
okay.
Because a lot of season 2 is setting up Ash kind of questioning, what he saw and did at the cabin.
Right. Yeah.
And I thought that was a really great moment for his character, and I wish that they kind of paid that off a lot more, and they don't.
Can we also talk about, real quick, I love how they cast the $6 million man.
Yes! Fucking Lee Majors is Ash's dad.
The man is, 89 or he was 79? He's up there.
He is an old
He was hilarious. They brought back one of the, his sister from Evil Dead 1, the same actress.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
They brought back, obviously, Ted Raimi was going to be in it. That was inevitable. Ted's always there.
And he also fucking plays Henrietta.
Yeah, he does. And they brought back Henrietta. See, it all comes back to fucking Henrietta. You haven't seen season 3. I'm not going to spoil it, but obviously, from what I understand, they had basically finished season 3 when they found out they were canceled. So they didn't have time to it's not like they were filming and you guys have done it this year, so they had to wrap it up. Season 3 sort of has an ending that you're like, well, I guess that could be the last one. But I'll just say this. The ending of season 3, the ending of this whole show is very, very familiar. Like the British ending of Army of Darkness.
That I already
sets
knew,
up, yeah. And that's unfortunate because I don't know what they could have done with season 4. Bruce says he's done now, but he said doesn't necessarily Evil Dead is done because anybody can be Ash. Well, not really, because we've seen that.
That's not true.
But now, would I personally watch a show with Pablo and Kelly and Bruce and Ash's daughter, who's introduced in season 3?
Yeah,
and she actually gets progressively more Ash-like as the series goes on.
Cool.
I've already kind of noticed that in season 3.
Yeah, so I probably would just because I'm a fan. Yeah. But no, overall, I mean, the fact that I think Bruce Campbell said the best. If he would have thought back in 1979 when they were coming up with this idea that literally almost 40 years later, he would still be playing Ash. Mm-hmm. That's a hell of a legacy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The other thing I've kind of noticed, as these films go on, is that the supporting characters get more and more interesting. Sans the reboot. Let's take the reboot away from this. But, the trilogy and Ash vs. Evil Dead, I've noticed that as the films go on, the side characters get more and more interesting. I really like the supporting characters in Ash vs. Evil Dead, so much.
Yeah, they're really
such
fun,
interesting characters.
And for especially season 1, each episode has its own thing. I think it was episode 2 where Kelly's going to her mom's alive, and the dinner scene and who played the mom? She was a well-known actress too. I'm like, whoa, she's in this. But it's almost like little 22-minute mini movies. Each one. They all have something crazy happen in it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and episode 2 is another one of those really fantastic episodes.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
Yeah. So obviously, Stefan, we recommend you watch Ash vs. Evil Dead.
I'm way more likely to watch it now that I've seen 2 and
Yeah,
Army.
I believe the first 2 seasons are available on Netflix right now.
Yep, and if you're looking for season 3, you can grab it at my store.
Yeah.
I got them all here.
Sick.
So
Yeah, they're all available on Blu-ray as far as I'm concerned. There's also a complete collection set, I think, too.
It's actually not bad. It's like I sell for about $60.
Oh, wow. That's not
So
bad.
that's
$20 a season.
yeah, pretty much.
That's not bad.
Well, shit, boys, we gotta do this again, and
Yes.
I'm sorry I
Yeah.
gotta cut it off because
No,
honestly I
it's-
keep rambling and shit. So
Oh, fuck,
It's all
that's all
good.
good. This was fun.
no,
It was
a lot of fun. I
fun.
apologize for the way you guys don't know, but these guys we were supposed to record this 4 hours ago, and we're at my video store, but customers kept coming, and I'm like, well, shit, I do have bills to pay, but
No, it's-
their patience is
Yeah.
brilliant, and they just sat on my couch watching movie trailers for 3 hours. So.
Now, before we go, Kev, would you like to plug anything?
Yeah, so I own a video store. And obviously we're talking about Evil Dead, so movies like Evil Dead and 70s, 80s horror movies, sci-fi and forgettable B movies. I'm the last video store in, sadly not Chicago. It is Edmonton.
Shit.
We broke the
God
lie.
damn it, the bit is over.
I know, I'm sorry. Don't worry, your next show you can be in St. Louis or some shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you live in Edmonton and you're on White Ave, the Lobby DVD shop, I am here every day, 10815 82nd Avenue, below the Cambridge Daycare Center. Come on down for all your movie needs. And if you don't know what the fuck you're looking for, I'll tell you what you're looking for because that's what my job is. So I love all movies, but if you're getting a little bored of the mainstream Hollywood shit and you want to see something you haven't thought about or never heard of, yeah, come check me out, man. Support your local video store.
Assuming your local area actually has one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure,
Um,
man. If you have one.
I think, is there still a Blockbuster left?
There's one, I think it's either in Alaska or
Yeah.
Portland. I can't. I keep seeing these articles like there's still one left.
Yeah.
They have a brilliant Twitter account though. The
Yes.
last Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, that shit makes me laugh, man,
Was-
and tear up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. It's great. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us again. We will be back in a couple of days because we're doing 2 episodes this week.
Kill me.
Sweet. What's
Yeah.
your new episode about?
Well, it is about